welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to another brand new episode of the For the Sports Show. I am not Zach. I am not the hostess with the mostest. I am just the other guy filling in for Zach this week. But I'll be joined, as always, by DJ, and we actually have a special guest joining us this time, Jared from Belly Up. Jared, obviously part of Corner Booth. Jared, how's it going today, man? It looks like feeling good after the Philadelphia Eagles got moved.
Oh my God! I'm supposed to be in Philadelphia tailgating right now, but instead I have to do a little rush job getting out of it, getting down there on Tuesday. So I'm just ecstatic right now. The NFL is on my definitely on my nice list for the Christmas season.
Oh yeah, definitely for sure. And I'm sure we're going to talk about that in just a second. And DJ, how you feeling this morning? We had Saturday football yesterday, bowl game season, and now we have 2 more days worth of football ahead.
I'm exhausted. I need to start getting an IV or something like that to keep me awake because there's way too much sports to keep track of in a short amount of time, especially when they keep starting so late as well, too. 8:20 when there's only one game on Saturday. If they're going to take the Browns and Raiders off, they should move the Colts up to like 7, 8 o'clock, 7, 6 o'clock. Give people more time to sleep. Think about your people if you're going to move the schedule all around.
Fair enough. So that is, we're just going to go ahead and get into it. So we're going to go into quarter one, the kickoff. You guys know the drill by now. It's your storylines. It's the return of Rona this week. And guys, it's affecting everybody. I mean, look, Jared, we just talked about it. Philadelphia getting moved. You're supposed to be there. I mean, when your first thought was they're going to be moving games? What was your first thought?
One, that the Washington football team are dead men. I've never seen somebody pissed off Eagles players on Twitter. Like everyone from Darius Slade, Javon Hargrave, Rodney McLeod, like all these even offensive guys, they're like, this is BS. We're getting screwed. Emmanuel Acho was on, I think it was Speak for Yourself on Friday. He was like, you're just basically screwing Philadelphia over. You're saying, oh, hey, by allowing Washington to, just paying for these guys' game checks, you are now basically saying, Philly, we don't care about your player safety when you have to play on a short week in 5 days after you played your game, or 4 technically if you want like the difference. And then we have to play a rest of Giants team on the following Sunday, the day after Christmas. So the one thing I will say about this, and also the Las Vegas Raiders got hosed just as much. And listen, no disrespect for Brown fans, but if I see more Brown fans saying the Raiders should stop complaining, I am going to lose my shit. Because you idiots can't seem to control your player protocols with the outbreak. And I have no sympathy for either team. That is the reason why they got moved. Because the NFL was very clear in their rules preseason. And the fact that they're flip-flopping because these teams are whining and complaining just is making me irate. Personal reasons aside, why I'd rather go and tailgate for 3 hours in North Philadelphia than have to rush out of my job on Tuesday to go see the game. Like, it's unfair to the players of the teams who actually followed the rules and did everything right. The good news is most of these players are asymptomatic or they're coming back or whatever. They're following the protocols, everything else. But still, Washington and Cleveland deserve nothing else but an ass whooping on Tuesday and Monday. I think that's just what football karma should do because this is just total bullshit. The NFL, the only person who's more in my shithouse than the NFL right now is YouTube TV for dropping ESPN. So that's how my weekend was going with that. But I just think the NFL, who made such a hardline stance preseason about we're not going to move games, you can't field a team, you forfeit. And now they're trying to find a loophole. It's like, well, they're vaccinated players. No, only about half of them are. And that's on Washington. And that's why it's a problem. Like there are certain players, I'm not going to roll on players I've heard from different sources who are unvaccinated. Because that's medical medical stuff. That's their right. It's also a HIPAA law violation, I believe. I don't know if I'm a doctor that counts. But so basically it really just comes down to this. The NFL flip-flopped, and a lot of Raiders and Eagles fans are starting to get the gist. The NFL didn't care about their teams because if it was reversed, they would play Sunday. It wouldn't matter. It's just because they're in the hunt, but they're not in the wild card. It's a problem. They have to move the games back because it's just there's a lot of fishiness about this. It just is not fun.
No, yeah. I mean, it's not. Is it as bad as last year with the Ravens, DJ? Is this as bad egregious as a move from the NFL?
Can they be unilateral but equal on different stances? My issue with it is this year you made the hardline stances. You said no, we will not reschedule games. Then you put in the writing if it's unvaccinated players. So it leaves 2 different loopholes. So no one knows exactly what's going on. My biggest issue too is look, you talked about the Cleveland and the Raiders game, how Cleveland Browns fans have been going irate on Twitter. A lot of them are actually trying to claim that they are the reason the game got moved. I literally saw one tweet that said, NFL learned one rule today: don't mess with Cleveland and their football. And that's just absolutely ridiculous. They're not going to listen to a bunch of angry Twitter fans to move the game. They move the game because that's what the NFL does. They kind of flip flop all around the place. So I don't really like them moving the game. I understand the rule and how they've written it, but it seems kind of ridiculous at this point when you made that hard stance. It's like, all right, well, unfortunately it broke through at this point. You guys have to deal with it. You made the rules beforehand. You laid them out that way, and then you changed it late in the season. If you knew this was going to happen after Thanksgiving, everyone gathers with their families. Why didn't you put an extra bye in right after Thanksgiving? I mean, you look at the Colts and the Patriots, two teams coming off a bye, and they didn't have any issues as well, too. So maybe the bye after Thanksgiving would have been a smart idea. Just you add an extra week to the season, just stick another bye week in there as well, too. You get everybody healthy. You have an extra week to deal with this. We wouldn't have to reschedule games. So it seems like kind of faulty planning on the NFL's part, which tell me if you've heard that one 1,000 times before as well, too. It's copy and paste at this point. It seems like something goes wrong every single year.
Yeah, no, it's like you're exactly right. Like it's a matter of time before the NFL manages to screw up their own rules, right? That just seems to be like the NFL playbook. Like, hey, let's change the rules in the offseason and let's completely ignore our rule change. That's what we're gonna do. But
yeah,
this is silly. I mean, really, it's silly all around. Like you kind of expected the cancellation of the Cleveland game. To be completely fair, like yeah, all the players that were getting tested positive, they are in Cleveland's case, those ones were vaccinated, but there's still the case of like you weren't even going to bring up people from a practice squad to fill in spots. You were just going to be like, yeah, we're going to play with 30 players. Like, why are you doing that? Like
they were trying to be, it's the whole thing. Like both, like Washington and Cleveland honestly are a disgrace this morning. Like they are screwing over not just fans, but like other teams who have to play on short weeks now because they can't get their shit together. And I'm sorry, I don't know if I can curse on the show or not.
Yeah, go ahead. No,
let it ride. It's early.
Yeah, I go full send on mine, so that's why if
quarter booth's a little more, right? Like, we don't want to hamstring it. We're not the NFL.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, the no fun league actually. But they had missed a golden opportunity here because, like DJ said, that extra bye week that puts the Super Bowl President's Day weekend. You're talking about like possibly one of the best weekends of the year, but that's the NBA All-Star weekend. Nobody cares. Like the NBA this year's a joke anyway, but I just like the NFL could have easily avoided all of this stuff. They really were worried about this. No, they're just the double loopholes, all this crap, and the way it's looking like these whole rulings are leaning towards like two other places. Wasn't the Seahawks game moved as well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're on Tuesday as well.
Seahawks Rams also moved to Tuesday.
What time does that kick off?
Same time.
Is it same time? I thought it was later, like a 7 p.m. or something.
Both Tuesday games are being played at the exact same time.
Oh, that's good thinking. That's even better.
Yeah, make them compete. So it's just so dumb. I'm actually dumbfounded about how the NFL has managed to screw this up in a matter of 72 hours.
Absolutely. And on top of that, too, we talked about like Washington and Cleveland, the mess they're on. Seattle hasn't had even a positive. I think they've had no positive cases in the 2 years since this thing came up. And now they get their game moved on top of it as well, too. While they're pretty much out of the wild card hunt, it is definitely the hose as well, too, when you have to deal with a Rams team that's fighting for a playoff spot as well. Now you have to deal with them with extra time, and you have to play on a short schedule at the end of the season. We know about a lot of the injuries they have as well, too. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, their first COVID cases was Tyler Lockett just recently. But previous to that, they had very few, if any. They would think they were the lowest positive team throughout the season since it started.
We only had 4 the entire 6 week. We only had 4 the entire season so far. I think 4 or 5. So yeah, we're right there with them. Philadelphia. I was like,
actually, and they get hosed as well too because you have to move. And as you mentioned, they're in the wild card hunt too. I mean, they're right there looking in as well too. Possibly the division, depending on if the Cowboys continue to reel. It's a long shot, but it's definitely you're making a plan on Tuesday, then on Sunday, short week, 2 division games. That's a host for them as well, too, especially teams as they're trying to get healthy down this stretch.
I will offer this as a rebuttal. The last time the NFL tried to screw the Eagles over, they ended up winning the Super Bowl. So it's kind of the Eagles love being against the wall. That's a team culture. It's always been that way. And honestly, there's nobody better fitting it than our center, Jason Kelcey. And nobody likes this. We don't care guy. Come on. And so I think this honestly could be a blessing in disguise for Philadelphia. If they come out and they kick the daylights out of Washington, which I believe they can, they come into New York wanting payback. And look, now they're 2-0 in 7 days, probably like the 7th seed in the wild card, looking at, We beat Washington again, and Dallas will probably sit their starters if they have a 2 or 3 game lead, which they should. Dallas has an easy damn schedule. You guys should take care of business today. And hell, I picked Dallas for the second straight week, and my heart didn't explode. So that's a first. But
Are you
yeah,
sure?
no,
Are you sure we haven't already reached? This is just what is it? This is already our first step to hell, right? Picking the Cowboys 2 weeks in a row.
I mean, I picked them last week. It worked out pretty good for me, even though they allowed a backdoor cover, which is dumb as hell. But I think this is it's horrible, and I'm really praying like the injuries stay down because honestly, Philadelphia had good luck with injuries this year so far, knock on wood. But I think the how ticked off these players are. Washington should get ready for an ass whooping. It's gonna be bad. So yeah, definitely gonna be an interesting setup for going forward with COVID in the NFL because if this is the only week they do, it'd be great. But I feel like they're gonna find some dumb way to screw it up later in the season as well.
We always joked about on the show last year, the Titans managed to weaponize COVID, considering they had multiple games moved and were able to finagle that way as well, too. Considering this, I hope it doesn't set that precedence where someone like the Titans can find a way to do it again. It's like, oh no, an outbreak here, but they're all vaccinated. Let's move week 18 to back another week or something like that as well, too, and really get things messy down the stretch, especially with playoff spots on the line with those teams that are in the division hunt wild card towards the top as well, too. So hopefully, knock on wood, we don't see another team weaponizing COVID in their favor somehow.
Yeah, and there's this whole thing. Like, obviously, people are mad because we're already moving to week 18. Let's not forget, this is not the first time we've ever had week 18s. It's happened before in the schedule, back in the lockout days, and it got extended, and also back when they tested out two bye weeks in a game or in a season. And let's just go back to that when we're gonna have COVID. Honestly, at this point in time, like put a bye week right after Thanksgiving just to give you guys an extra 7 days to get healthy. Because looking at the schedule, you guys are all right. The only team that really has a decent split between their games is Washington because they don't play again until Sunday at 8:20 p.m. The Raiders play Sunday 4:25, Seahawks 4:05, and everybody else is either Saturday like the Browns or early Sunday. Like it's absurd. Like, I mean, honestly, you looking at the scheduling, and I don't know why the NFL does the things they do. I mean, if you had to guess at it, there's no rhyme or reason other than money at the end of the day. But I do have to add though, we did get a really fun Saturday game last night. I mean, obviously,
oh my Lord,
Patriots Colts. Who thought that coming after a 20-0 first half?
Jonathan Taylor for MVP.
MVP. I mean, who else is taking it?
Like, listen, you guys have the best game, have like the most expensive game manager in football as your quarterback right now. Thank you for the first round pick, by the way. I really appreciate it. That one still kind of hurts as well too. 5 of 12 for 1 touchdown, which was literally a handoff and an interception. So that was definitely worth the first round. That's a Carson Wentz game, baby.
At least he didn't fumble. That's the only thing I was happy about. It's like, all right, we don't have 3 fumbles, 2 lost. So that's an upgrade as well too. Listen, I feel like that's always
Frank Reich basically slam the handcuffs on Carson. He goes, "You're just gonna just hand it off to JT and just stay out of the way."
Let's say they beat the Patriots and the Bills, and I think Carson threw a combined 25 times or something like that in those 2 games. And then against the Buccaneers, he throws 53 and they lose. It seems like cap him at that 30 mark. If he throws less than 30, you have a chance. If he throws more,
that actually is a legitimate stat. You go back and look at his time in Philadelphia when he throws between, I think it was 38 and 25 passes. The Eagles were 15 games above 500. But when he throws over 40 or less than 15, they're like 0 and 12.
It's crazy. It's like he's the ultimate one. It's like playing with fire too. It's like you're sitting on the edge, and once you hit that 35, 30-ish mark, that's when you fall off the edge. He's just a little bit too reckless, if that makes sense as well too. I feel like he tries to force like a little short crossing route. There's 3 guys there. I can get it in there, rips it in there with every force of his body instead of just like, hey, I can actually tuck and run for 3 yards and fall down.
He's dollar store Brett Favre. That's what he is.
Yeah, that's a good one. But that makes us think, like, what do you think of Jalen Hurts so far this season? I mean, he had a little bit of a rough patch here and there, but he's looked pretty good down the stretch, especially running the ball.
So my thing about Jalen Hurts is that he basically, like, Philadelphia is not going to, settle for what he gave them towards the end, towards the bye week. They want Denver Broncos Jalen Hurts. They don't want throw 6 times, run for 30, run for 85 yards and 2 touchdowns. Because they know it's not sustainable. You can't win that way. Look at Lamar Jackson. As much as the running helps, but the Ravens are successful when he sits back, lets it rep and throws. So with Hurts, yes, Hurts is a much smarter runner than Jackson. He gets down faster. He knows how to stay out of bounds. There are some times where I think the adrenaline kicks in. He tries to run over a safety, and I literally have a mini heart attack. But honestly, with Hurts, he's got to play well these last 4 games. Like good passing numbers, get 4 wins. He's got to win out, obviously, because if we don't win out, I don't know if Philadelphia makes playoffs. And if not, like Philly's already expressed they want Deshaun Watson. They've already expressed they might even look at Russell Wilson. There's also a guy like Desmond Ridder sitting where they would draft in the mid-teens. They would do it. It's not even because Hurts is only a second-round pick, and he's only controlled for 2 more years. They could literally ship him off to any team who would take Hurts in a heartbeat. Like, hey, listen, Jalen Hurts for a second or third? Cool. Peace. Like, that's it. He's in a very interesting position because he has to really step it up. There's like no, I guess, room for bad performances going down the stretch because they need him to step up and play. Because also you have Minshew in the background too, at least the transition because he'll be probably moved next year as well because the Eagles are using him as window dressing, kind of like a Matt Flynn effect. And
highest paid 1 game extraordinaire right there, Matt Flynn.
Oh yeah, well, look at it's the Jets. Like we thought Gardner Minshew was the second coming of Mustache Jesus. The guy was just chucking the ball everywhere, and he had the best celebration ever with his dad. It made my heart warm a little bit. But
only Eagles fans would enjoy that.
Oh my God, it's a strange place that Philadelphia Eagles quarterbacking is in because it's like Hurts went from being the guy to like, okay, buddy, like that game against the Giants was absolutely atrocious. Like, get your shit together.
Yeah.
And Gardner's in the background. So, yeah, it's going to be Tuesday's going to tell me a lot about what we do in the offseason at quarterback and what happens to Hurts and Minshew and everything else.
Absolutely. And the other quick question I have for you, too, is Nick Sirianni coming as head coach from the offensive coordinator of the Colts had a bit of a rough press conference, I guess you could say as well, too. As soon as after his first time talking, everybody was roasting that. I saw on Twitter as well, too, and had a little bit of an interesting season. Basically, I think it was 1 game they had Jalen Hurts throw 1 time in the first half. I think that was actually the Cowboys game or something like that. What are your thoughts on Nick Sirianni?
Ran only 1 time in the first half. Yeah. My opinion on Sirianni is he definitely looked a little lost early in the season, but I really don't care about press conferences. They're pure. They're window dressing. You never really give away anything. Like they're there for comments, and that's about it. With Sirianni, I think why he's a breath of fresh air is because he cares. He has this demeanor of like pure emotion. Whereas like with Peterson, sometimes it was like he would just like sit there and stay so calm and so relaxed and feel like he'd be just like either pissed or happy or whatever. Sirianni has focused so much on building a culture in Philly. Like the team, the vibe that has come out of Philadelphia for the past, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 weeks is that it's a team. Like these guys care about each other. They're celebrating together. They're hanging out. They're like showing up to the stadium together. A lot of things like the vibe of Philadelphia, almost like it was reset. Because after 2017, the Eagles, it was just nothing but drama, whether it's Jeffrey or Zach Ertz's contract or Carson Wentz being a crybaby or diva, actually, that's the correct word. Or, you have the issues with the running backs, and then you have Lane Johnson shoving Alshon Jeffrey or allegedly into a locker. You have for leaking stuff to Josina Anderson. You have like stuff with the defense, and it really just turned into a big problem. It just seemed like a toxic locker room, and Sirianni's coming. It was kind of like the bleach wipe away and kind of just restarted everything. It seems like the team actually is very together, and it's kind of a nice change of pace. I think Sirianni's going to be a great head coach for Philadelphia. Do I think he's got a Super Bowl shot? Let's see how he does in the offseason, his second full offseason with Howie. But I really think that Sirianni's a good fit. He's definitely won me over. And yeah, I think being Frank Reich's understudy was the perfect guy to replace Doug Peterson. So
yeah, absolutely, not for sure. It'll be interesting to see what Sirianni can do forward. But Jared, before we get you out of here, before we move on to quarter 2, let everybody know where to find you and corner booth and everything, and also give us your prediction for Tuesday as well.
Well, of course, you can find me, my beautiful face, and my 2 knucklehead co-hosts, Samir and JD, on the corner booth on Tuesdays. We usually do live on YouTube we usually record on 6:30. And you can find us at Corner Booth Pod and Corner Booth, basically on everything: Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. Also, you can find us on Thursdays live for the Corner Booth pregame. We kind of do a little hybrid show with Tailgate in the Quad. It's basically your pregame show for the weekend. And this week is our Christmas/holiday party, so everyone feels included. We're giving away 2 free pairs of Yeet sunglasses to people who comment and share during the show. So you want a free pair of these beautiful things right here. Yes, selfless plug for my sponsors. Shout out to yeetsofficial.com, promo code corner for 10% off. You can find us, you can stop by, comment, and hey, even you two could win some sunglasses. I don't know if you guys show up and share. So it's gonna be a good time, and we have a couple big guests coming through. So I believe your next guest will be showing up on my show on Thursday as well. So it'll be a good time.
Yeah, so we have TSS coming up later on today. By the way, I was on your guys' pregame show, and everybody else had Yeets except for me. Everybody was all prepped and ready with the Yeets, and I had none of them.
Well, you know what? If you want to order yourself a pair, you know what promo code to use to get your shipping for free.
I heard this. What, the corner booth? I think is the promo code.
10% off. Yeah. Listen, McCarthy got his shipping. Use our promo code. Only 3 or 4 of our shows have Yeets codes, and we're like, hey, listen, man, use ours.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. Look, you don't have to have expensive sunglasses to make it work. So we love sponsors all around here, obviously, as always. But Jared, it's been a fantastic time having you on, as always. Enjoy the rest of your day and enjoy Tuesday, man. We will see you later on, as that's going to get us into quarter number 2, DJ's best bets and some other bets too. You guys know the drill. It's where DJ gets to have his moment in the limelight, and rock it out for, well, all your money's sake. So we'll see what he has in store for us this week. DJ, what you got for us this week as your best bets here?
Well, we're going to look back at last week as well, too. Last week, we went 50-50 right down the stretch. We had all 3 over-unders. We got Cowboy-Washington taking the under, Browns-Ravens taking the over, and Packers-Bears taking the over. So we hit on all 3 of those. It's everywhere else where we got a little bit shaky. We tried to pick Buffalo 1 plus 142 underdog against Tampa Bay. Almost pulled it off, but unfortunately, Brashad Perriman's a little bit too fast in open space when you card him with a linebacker. Chargers minus 9.5 over the Giants. Thought the Giants could keep it close. The Chargers were a little bit banged up, had the COVID issues as well. Turns out Justin Herbert was having absolutely none of that and put on an absolute clinic. Then Denver minus 10 over Detroit. Thought Detroit could cover that one, but Denver had absolutely other plans as well, too, and they went absolutely ballistic. So right now we are 3-3 off of last week as well, too. So depending on how much money you put in, we should be at breaking about even off last week. Looking at this week now, Buffalo minus 10.5 points over Carolina. Once again, I'm probably going to regret this one, but I think the Bills will win. But I think Carolina will cover and keep it within 10.5 points. The Bills have looked not quite like we expected. We thought the Bills might be arguably the best team in the league this year, and they've done that for maybe 3 or 4 random weeks here and there. And I think Carolina is still quite good enough to keep it close. DJ Moore coming back is a huge addition. Chuba Hubbard's getting more comfortable. We'll see what they do with the quarterback thing. I hope they don't try and run a 3-quarterback system or whatever mess they're trying. Just let Cam or PJ Walker ride out with it. We'll see how that goes. But I think Carolina will be able to keep it within 10.5 points. That's quite a big spread. And if you heard this before, we're going to basically copy and paste that. Bucks are 10.5 points of favorites over the Saints. I don't see why the Saints wouldn't cover this. Maybe the Bucks finally are able to break through, but the Saints have had their number in the regular season. Since Tom Brady joined, they are 0-3 in the regular season against the Saints. And even earlier this season is the game that Jameis Winston got hurt in. Obviously, it's now Taysom Hill at the quarterback, and he's been erratic, I guess is the way we want to say it at best so far. But I think they will find a way to keep it within 10.5 points. That defense, for some reason, gives their offense fits consistently. So look for the Saints to be within that 10.5 point range. They could even have a chance to win. I'm not going to pick them to win outright personally, but I think they will keep it in that 10.5 point mark, 24, 21, 27, 26, something along those lines, 27, 21, somewhere relatively close. I don't think it's going to be a wash, even though on paper it should be. For some reason, the Saints just always are right there. And then looking at the plus minuses, we have the Bears plus 152 underdog against the Vikings. I weirdly kind of like them in this game as well too. A lot of the underdogs are more large underdogs this week, ones that you don't want to take a risk on. But this one, you can take a little bit of a flyer on there as well too. The Vikings are obviously a really good team, probably the best team not in the playoffs right now, arguably. But the Bears have started to come on really, really strong the last few weeks. We saw against Green Bay the first half. Justin Fields and the offense came out firing. I think the question is, can they find a way to stop them on defense? The Vikings, weirdly enough, have the most sacks in the NFL, even though none of their pass rushers are guys that stand out. So that's an interesting thing to keep an eye on. If Tevin Jenkins and the offensive line for the Bears can not get completely washed, I think we could see an underrated shootout between the Bears and the Vikings. I never thought I'd say those words out loud. Now looking at some of the over-unders. Tennessee versus Titans, 41.5. I'm going to take the over on that one. Granted, both offenses are kind of I don't want to say mediocre, but they're definitely messy. But I could still see both teams getting over 20 points each. I mean, we'll see. Ryan Tannehill will find a way to scoot. The Steelers' run defense has really fallen apart the last month and a half, most of the season, honestly. Deontay Foreman, they could find a way to get in the end zone and score points. Steelers offense, it's basically terrible for 2 quarters, explodes for 1, then runs out of time in the 4th quarter while they're celebrating a first down. So look for them both to crack over 20 points as well, too. Take the over for 41.5. That's a really, really low number for 2 teams in the playoff hunt. Cardinals versus Lions, ones that I know Kelcey has an eye on as the designated Lions picker at each and every week. This one I'm going to take the under. It should be a Cards blowout, but I don't think the Lions will hold up their end of the deal. It'll be similar to like when we talked about the Colts and the Texans with a 44 over-under. I think it'll be like a Cardinals 30-10, 33-7, something like that. I think the Cardinals will run away with it, even without DeAndre Hopkins. The Lions have struggled a lot this year. Coming off that blowout loss at Denver, I think they're going to struggle to find points. So I think the Cardinals, a lot of James Conner, Chase Edmonds coming off the IR. Look for them to basically utilize their running back core and keep this on the ground a lot as well, too. So I look for the Cardinals to win comfortably, but take the under. And then Vikings-Bears, 44 points. We talked about earlier. Take the over. The Vikings defense is shaky. It's either a sack or they give up a touchdown. But the offense is cooking. Justin Jefferson, outstanding top 2 receiver in the game this year. Kirk Cousins, weirdly underrated in the most painful way to watch ever. Dalvin Cook when he's healthy. Alexander Mattison. They have the full squad. And Fields, we talked about it too. He gets better every single play. You could see it in his last few performances. Look for him to put up a good amount of points too. And there's no reason both teams can't crack the 22-point mark. So that's what I'm looking at for the over-unders. Look for the Vikings and the Bears to turn into that underrated shootout I kind of joked about earlier. So that's what we're looking at for DJ's best bets. And you know what? I smell some money in the future. I think these are pretty good. Notice how I stayed away from those Monday, Tuesday, flexed around, moved around games because I'm not touching any of those because we still don't know who's playing, how that's going to work out. I'm avoiding those ones for now.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. That all these different games out here, and then, like, just avoiding those is the best option. It feels like. I want to go back to that Panthers-Bills game. 11.5-point favorites are the Bills.
Oh, it's 11.
By the way, what is it now?
It's 11.5. I thought it was 10.5 last I looked.
11.5 as of that was updated last night. So
okay, cool. Well, in that case, you know what? 11.5, 10.5. I stand by it. Somehow the Panthers will cover that, even more so if it's 11.
Well, so here's my thing: the Bills, since they've had double-digit point spreads, they have won every game, but they have not covered every spread of the double-digit point spread.
They did lose the Jacksonville one, though.
Oh, that's fair. Okay, yeah, fair. I forgot about the Jacksonville game.
They win these games, but I don't know if they're going to cover that. I think, weirdly enough, Carolina will be like, you know what? They'll be down like 30-10 in the 4th quarter, then somehow only win like 33-27, if that makes sense, you know? Yeah.
And the other game I want to look at, that Jets-Dolphins game, we're going to have TSS here coming in the house, actually live from their tailgate there down in Miami. But, I do want to point out that this is a plus 320 odds for those Jets. And, I mean, in a game where you have the Dolphins fighting back and it's a division game, it's a rivalry game, I wouldn't be surprised to see the Jets maybe sneak one in and win you some money here. So,
hold on, you're just picking the Jets to win outright now.
It's possible.
It's interesting. I will say I look at the Dolphins defense, one of the better ball hawking secondaries, and Zach Wilson, who's known to throw it up a few times as well too. So that does give me a little bit of cause to pause, especially with the injuries the Jets have at receiver when they're not exactly deep at receiver either.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, we have TSS in the waiting room, and I can see them talking trash already. They can they one of them has their Jets hat up. Obviously, Jason is Commissioner Cooper is a Dolphins fan, so that one's going to be very fun. We're going to get them on here after we get back from halftime. We cannot wait for that for you guys. So that does it for us, our best bets. DJ, obviously, hoping to win you some money this week. And if you do, be sure to send us a lotto ticket or something.
We'll send the Venmo or the Cash App on Twitter or something as well too. Just not a whole lot, like 2%. That's all I'm asking. Like you win 100, just like send me $2. Like that'd be cool.
Absolutely. So we're gonna take us into halftime, and we're gonna take a short break. And when we return, we'll have TSS Fantasy full year fantasy starts and sits. But we're gonna do something a little different. We're gonna have a game time for them. So we have a lineup built up, and they're gonna give us their answers on who goes where, and it'll be very interesting to see, guys. But we'll be right back with you here in just one moment. All right, and I hope you guys are ready for a wild time. TSS Fantasy is in the house. We got Commissioner Cooper and crew down there on the tailgate spot. How you guys doing?
We're doing great. How you doing, my brother?
Oh, man, doing fantastic. So, obviously, you guys just heard my prediction for the Miami Jets game. What do you guys think? Obviously, you guys are right there on the spot. Obviously, I see two Jets hats, and I see Coop wearing his Dolphins hat. So, a split decision here, 2-1?
No, it's not split. I mean, listen, the bottom line is the America's team, the Miami Dolphins, will dominate today on all sides of the football. I don't think there's nothing interesting about it. The only little niche that the Jets do have, I will say, is without the connection with Jalen Waddle. I'm curious how Tua does today with Devontae Parker. So that, to me, is a matchup to watch today as far as fantasy is concerned. And I am a little concerned, to be quite honest with you.
I kind of enjoy what you said, Kelcey, because you did go to one of our strong suits, which is with no Waddle, we do have decent secondary. So hopefully we give Tua a hard time today. I think the Jets win, last win of the season today.
Look out for Michael Carter Jr. getting the dump balls. If the Jets get down early, Zach Wilson and that connection get some garbage points. Because what's fantasy about? Points. So we get some garbage points at the end. That's all we need, baby. And Jets by 3.
Let me interject something really quickly. We've had a little bit of SoCo, and we've had with peach ginger ale. I definitely recommend it, and a little bit of other stuff. So that's why you're hearing the Jets talk this morning. Like, they're really a little too inebriated for television, I think.
You know, that's good because we're not on TV. We're just on the internet. Nothing bad on the internet, right?
That's right.
We're working our way towards a Southern Comfort sponsor. That's where we're going. So we're halfway there. But guys, obviously, you guys are the fantasy show for the people, right? So
Yes,
I got a person's lineup here. It may or may not be mine. I'm in the playoffs, and I need help. All right? I have 3 positions I need to fill. I'm starting with quarterback. Number 1 on the list, I have to choose between Kyler Murray and Matt Stafford. Who are you guys going with?
Well, I'll tell you off the jump. Right, for me, the commish, the guy who always gets it always correctly. I'm going Kyler Murray, who's playing Detroit. He's actually our number 1 QB. If you go to TSSFantasy.com, Kyler Murray, number 1 ranked QB. What? He's not? Right. Yeah. Thank you. All right. He is our number 1 ranked. TSSFantasy.com. Number 1 ranked QB this week. Kyler Murray, Detroit, awful against the pass. I like Kyler Murray regardless of D-Hop being gone. Now got Chase Edmonds to dump off too as well, so I like him a lot.
And just to add on, they want to stay ahead of the Rams. It's playoff push time. Kyler Murray all day, must start. He's gonna have a big game.
I agree.
So you got 3 on out.
Three Kyler. DJ, I got to get your opinion as well. Do you agree with the crew from TSS?
I mean, how can you argue with that as well, too? You're going against Detroit. You got Chase Evans back. I mean, it's a pretty compelling case. So you can never go wrong with Matthew Stafford, but you can go wrong sitting Kyler Murray. So I'd say stick with him as well, too. As a guy who traded Kyler Murray for Lamar Jackson and ended up ruining Lamar Jackson's career, always play Kyler Murray. It always hurts if you don't.
Fair enough. All right. I knew where I'm going at quarterback then. But that'll take me to the other spot, the running back spot. All right. I have Devontae Freeman, Matt Breida, and Tony Pollard for 1 spot. Who am I going for that 1 spot?
And Tony's we haven't heard. We were on our way down, so we didn't hear. If Tony's a definite go, Tony is a go.
He's a go.
Then out of those 3, that's who I like. He's been the big play guy in Dallas. Again with the matchup against the Giants, I like it. I think Tony Pollard. I don't think he's. Say again.
No.
Again, Giants not that good against the run, and again you'll see a lot of Zeke. Also, that game, if you listen to TSS Fantasy this morning, it's going to be windy. The game is off, so they might end up pounding the ball a lot. And you like the Cowboys to get up, so I like Tony Pollard out of those 3.
Do you really?
Yeah.
You like
have something else?
I like Devontae Freeman. I think when Lamar. Yeah, I've been on his train all year. He's consistent between 10 to 14 points. The reason I like him this week is what else do you have? Lamar Jackson is not playing, if I'm correct. So you have to do the defense and the running game bit. It's cold weather. Beat, run. That's how you play Baltimore has to win. I mean, the Chiefs are playing great. New England's good. Colts are coming. You want to stay in the playoff hunt? Play Devonta Freeman. I think he gets a lot of touches.
I don't agree with him with Devontae Freeman. I'm going with Tony Pollard because that Green Bay defense is tough and they're tough against the run. But Tony Pollard's coming back. He's fresh. Zeke's going to need a rest going down the stretch. I can see Tony Pollard having a good game. If it's PPR between 14 to 15 points, standardly probably about 10 to 11. But I'll go with Tony Pollard, not for me.
Well, I mean,
For him.
okay.
All right, DJ, you heard it there. They got 2-1 Tony Pollard. Do I go Tony Pollard? Do I go Devontae Freeman?
I want to be the weird guy and say you should take Matt Breida because he's the one that's kind of left out behind. But considering how the Bills never actually give the ball to their running backs, I think I'm going to pass on that one. I would probably lean towards Tony Pollard. I think he has the best floor, if you will, to his worst game for today. If he's a go, it's going to be like 8, 9, 10 points. Freeman, he'll give you 17, but if there's no Lamar Jackson, I can see a situation where he gives you 3 because he just keeps running to a brick wall. So that's what kind of worries me there. But I'd probably lean towards Pollard because, like you mentioned as well, too, you have to get points in this spot. You can't risk putting that on the bench. So I'll lean towards Tony Pollard, but I feel like you're going to be wrong either way, unfortunately, because fantasy football hates you.
Yeah, exactly. Probably. All right. So the final one, and this one I actually have 2 spots to fill, but I got a whole lot of people to fill it. As you just talked about, Devontae Freeman now opens up for a flex spot. I have Matt Breida for a flex spot, Odell Beckham Jr., Christian Kirk, AJ Green, and Dalton Schultz, all for 2 flex spots. So 6 people, 2 flex spots. I don't know if you need me to name them off again. I can name them off if need be, but that's a whole lot of points possible there. Who do I go with, and how do I get the best out of them?
Well, if we're going, first off, I would just say I like Christian Kirk and AJ Green, but the problem is I like them both. So who do you go with? Problem is I can't tell you. There's no one, even when D-Hop went down last time, no one set up to establish themselves. So I can't tell you which one to choose. So if I had to choose, I would definitely go with Tony Pollard. And for me, I like OBJ in this. Again, I know we just talked about Stafford and Murray, but I did want to chime in that Stafford I like as well. So you can't go wrong with either one. And I like OBJ. They're starting a nice connection there, especially in the red zone. So to me, I go Pollard, OBJ, if I heard that correctly. Fellas?
I'm sticking with Devonta Freeman, and I'm going with Dalton Schultz. I don't think Pollard has a big game as they're thinking. I think the Giants cannot cover tight ends, and I think Schultz is going to get the majority of them catches. The defense is porous over the secondary and the Giants.
Really? So stick
Schultz
with Pollard, and I'm with Jason with OBJ. The Rams, they're trying to get him involved, right? Since he's been there, he has 2 touchdowns already. Looking for him in the red zone. He's looking good. And what's his name? The coach? McVay. It looks like he really wants to get OBJ involved in the offense. So I'm going to go with OBJ on this one, especially with quarterback play. And they're running the ball. But when they get in the red zone, they are looking for OBJ.
And he's the number 2 receiver in a pass-happy offense. So that's the other part.
I like it. So DJ, are you agreeing with the crew, or I mean, I and then after you give your answer, I do want to go back to this AJ Green, Christian Kirk commentary for a second.
But yeah, I'm going to agree. I'm taking Odell Beckham, obviously. And they're going against Seattle. On top of Seattle, their pass defense is iffy at best, and you took away Blitzboy, their best secondary player as well, too. So I think there's no reason that Odell can't find himself with like 4 catches for 40 yards and a touchdown, at least something along those lines. Like you mentioned, too, he's the red zone target because they don't really have a big receiver, so they pick them most freakishly gifted one and throw it to him in the red zone as well, too. So look for Odell to continue his 3 straight games with a touchdown and make it 4 today.
Fair
or
enough.
Tuesday, technically.
So going back to this AJ Green, Christian Kirk thing, obviously you guys, we just talked about it. Literally, D-Hop goes down. You know, AJ Green obviously is the AJ Green that we kind of remember from Cincinnati back in the day, having a resurgence. Christian Kirk, though, any given moment, he can give you 13 points plus. So if you guys had to pick between one of these guys, who do you think actually has the best upside?
So here's the other part I'll say, too. As you were talking, too, no risk it, no biscuit, as they say. So maybe I'd bench Tony Pollard for my favorite in there is Christian Kirk, the big play mobility, young. AJ Green, yeah, he is a little bit of a resurgence, but he's not the AJ Green that we once knew. I like Christian Kirk. I actually like him a lot. In the matchup, we talked about Kyler Murray being the number 1 QB. Well, who the hell is he going to throw to? Somebody's got to benefit from it. It's just a tough decision as a fantasy owner. That's why I said to be safe, go with Pollard. But if you want to risk it, win that title, Christian Kirk's your guy. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I don't agree with AJ Green. He's gonna catch a little 5, 7 yarders here. I think Kirk has the best big play ability, 20+ yards, touchdown. I'm going Christian Kirk.
Yeah, but AJ Green's been that safety blanket from Kyler Murray, and he's showing up. And he's a big receiver. He's tall, he's what 6'2", 6'4".
That's why Ertz is there.
But he's a red zone target as well. He's a big dude, bro. I mean, this Ertz is there, but AJ Green is that safety blanket. And AJ Green is healthy now. He's showing flashes of the old AJ Green. I'm going AJ Green.
Okay.
I like Ertz a lot today, too.
Yeah. So you heard a split, DJ. Well, I say split. It's 2-1. AJ Green with the one vote. DJ, where do you go on this one? Christian Kirk or AJ Green?
Wow, way to put the pressure on me on this one. I think I'm leaning a little bit towards AJ Green because the big body just catching a touchdown in the end zone type of thing as well too. Like Christian Kirk will probably get you a lot of points. He'll get you 6 receptions for 60 yards to get you 12 points, where I could see AJ Green basically getting you a couple of catches and a touchdown to bounce out. So I think they could get you 12 points, but AJ Green's going to be the safer way to get about it.
So literally you guys did me no help whatsoever. Now
Absolutely
I'm back to tied 2-2. That's what I got from that.
That's the premise. That's the premise of our show, bro. Listen, we have a good time. We do the analysis, but at the end of the day, it's all luck, bro. We can sit here and say whatever the hell we want. The experts know just as much as you do. Go with your gut. That's what I'll tell you, best man.
Do what I do. I flip a coin.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's how I did my lineup last week, and it worked. Got me in the playoff. So I'll take that. But look, you guys are the fantasy show of the people. That is your mantra. That is what you guys do the best. Tell the people where to find you guys. Obviously, I know where to find you guys. DJ knows where to find you, but really tell the people where to find you.
Yeah, so go to tssfantasy.com. That's where we have all of our links, all of our good stuff on there. As far as our merchandise, of course, got to rep for TSS Fantasy down here in Miami. Also, our contests, which are done. But since you brought up the fantasy of the show, the people, we are down here now. We're celebrating our top running back challenge winner. Not only are they going to the game with us, but we will be down the field holding the flag, the American flag for the preamp. I mean, that's how you treat people. We guys are the fantasy show of the people. That's how you treat people who watch the show. That's all I'm talking about. But anyway, YouTube, find us,
Twitter.
TSS Fantasy. We're on all social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all of that. We're on there. Just Google TSS Fantasy. We're there. We got you. We're the fantasy show of the people.
Yeah. Look, man, we love it, guys. Look, we love every time you guys come on the show or we come on your show. We have a lot of stuff working for the future with, you guys and collaborating with you guys. So we can't wait for that. By the way, I'm jealous. Like, I want to be on the field holding the American flag. Like, come on now.
I want to be in Miami. I didn't even have to be on the field. I just want to be in Miami. It's
Yeah,
nice
like I'm
there.
looking
It's raining
behind you
here.
guys. When you guys are setting up, there's like blue skies. There's a nice water behind you. Like, it's warm. You guys are wearing short sleeves. I'm wearing a hoodie inside.
Listen,
Got an umbrella above my head indoors.
The best part about all of it, yeah, we can wear the tank tops and all that, but everything's out. The titties are out in Florida today. This is where you want to be, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to see some boobies, come on down to Miami and the pregame, because it's just walking. I mean, it's great. I wish I could set up a live camera for our Twitter feed, because it would probably get 1 million views. It's great down here.
And that was brought to you by Cover.
You heard of SoCo. Hey, SoCo, get at TSS. We can get that sponsorship going for them, and that way you can sponsor the tailgate. And next time you bring a winner out, you can have it sponsored by SoCo.
Yes,
Hey,
right.
That's what we talking about.
But no, guys, we appreciate it, guys. You guys enjoy the time down at the tailgate. Enjoy it with your special running back winner, and enjoy the time on the field, and honestly, enjoy the heck out of the game.
All right, appreciate
fellas.
you guys. It's gonna be a long ride for these motherfuckers tonight. Fins up.
As always, guys, that's TSS Fantasy. We love every time they get a chance to jump on. Every single time, DJ, that was fantastic. That was a lot of fun getting them on. Obviously, we do a lot of things with TSS. We've been on the show way too many times, I feel like, at this point in time.
I feel like I am the de facto champs versus chumps champ at all times as well too. Even though just no matter what, I feel like I'm the king at this point as well too. At least I have like top monopoly on it.
Yeah. So I definitely have the chump title on category. Although after last week, they did combine your head with my body to make the chump of the week. So that was
Yeah, I'm still offended by that. Don't take it personally, but I know we don't stand up very often, but like I didn't think I looked that thick on camera now. Like, geez.
Hey, thick and rich, right? That's the goal. That's
Minus the
goal
rich.
But no, that'll do it for quarter 3, guys. Which will lead us into quarter 4, the primetime picks presented by Colorcast. Shout out to Colorcast, our friends over there. Evan, Tristan, the whole crew, able to get us on the mic at any given time and get you on the mic at any given time. All you got to do is download the app, click on Go Live now, and as soon as you click Go Live, you're there. You're live. You're on it. We are live on Colorcast right now here on the 4th and 4 show, and it's been absolutely fantastic all day long. We've had 2 great guests, but DJ, this is where we get into it, right?
This is where the money is made, unfortunately, where we have some ground to make up as well, too, in our pick'ems as well, too. The 2 football guys aren't here right now, so we have a chance as we take a look at this. Last week, DJ and Zach and Hector all going 10-3, Kelcey 7-6 as well, too, and looking at the overall. Hector 123, 68-1. Zach climbing up on him 122, 69-1. DJ a little ways away, still with 118, 73-1, and Kelcey 108, 83-1. So Kelcey, we're making a climb back. We're slowly coming back as well too. We got a good start. We both picked the Colts yesterday, and what turned out to be, my goodness, we didn't see that coming. But we ended up getting that one right. So we're making progress so far.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Look, we had to make sure I got our picks in there before the Saturday games, before they got moved. So we actually had the Browns pick already picked. By the way, we we'll get to that one here in a minute. But yeah, that game last night was insane. I mean, big ups for the Colts for that one, for helping my pick them. And I got to go back to this. DJ, you referred to yourself as DJ every time. I didn't know we were in third person mode.
Well, yeah, I was just reading it off the thing as well. So I'm not gonna say I mean, geez, I didn't know
we went full OBJ once we started pulling ourselves out of the
DJ only refers to DJ in third person when it's necessary. Is that what you were looking for? You're looking for me to hit that one right on the head? Is that what we were waiting on?
That's what I was hoping for. I was hoping for a little bit of fun.
I'm glad that DJ is able to make you feel good about that as well too, and help you feel right, because that's what DJ is here for. DJ is the person of the people, if you will.
Absolutely. So shout out, Mom, for the good morning, guys. Good morning. Obviously, we've had a great morning so far. Honestly, a little jealous of the guys in Miami still. I don't know if I'm gonna get that out of my system before winter finally thaws me out or something. I don't know, but
that's okay. At least it's not like too bad here. I mean, right?
Yeah, exactly. No snow yet. There was snow last night, just didn't stick. But that'll take us into, obviously, we talk about Cleveland. We're in Cleveland. Why not start with the Las Vegas versus Cleveland game on Monday night? It did get moved, but we're gonna start with it anyways, just because it's a wash. Really, at this point in time, we have all picked Cleveland, and DJ, do you think there's anything that Vegas can do in this one to fight back and win this? Because this is a game that you really need if you're the Raiders, if you're going to try to do anything for your season.
Both teams really need it, and honestly, I had the Raiders plugged in until they rescheduled the game, because I thought it was going to go Saturday. Even if you got some of the players back, I thought you needed to be at full staff, if you will, to go against the Raiders. So I think they're very similar teams. They don't play the same. Their records are very similar, but they both have random weak spots, if that makes sense. For the Browns, it's their offense just randomly sputters. For the Raiders, I feel like their defense just randomly, if they don't get a pass rush, they can't really hold up on the back end. It's basically dependent on Max Crosby, Yannick Ngakoue, Carl Nassib, and those guys hitting the quarterback. And the Browns offense is Nick Chubb, please save us, and maybe there's David Njoku out there somewhere. There's a whole lot of limitations for him as well. But with them delaying the game and giving the Browns a chance to get maybe half those players back, I think it still favors them as well too. If Nick Mullins was out there, I'd feel a little less comfortable and went with the Raiders. But by all intents and purposes, I'd imagine at least Case Keenum's coming back at this point, maybe even Baker as well. You'll probably get Wyatt Teller and some of those guys. They already got Anthony Walker off the list. So with all that, I imagine they're going to have at least 80% of their guys back. And that's going to favor them, especially the Raiders having to travel on to Monday now. And honestly, I looked on it too. I looked at it, the way Twitter's reacting on both sides. I kind of wanted to pick a tie, honestly. I don't want either team to win because neither team is handling this very well, especially if it's social media wise. But the Browns are just the better team. And I think the Raiders have an outside shot looking in, where the Browns have a long shot, but they're at least in, if that makes sense. They're in the box with a shot, where the Raiders are kind of on the outside box trying to knock on the door.
Yeah, look, I mean, you're completely right, though. Can we get a tie in this game? Can we just get an automatic tie? Like, can it just be the case that happens? Like, it's ridiculous. I'm sorry, Browns fans. I normally support a lot of the fans and stupid shit that they do. Like, honestly, I honestly usually support them 9 times out of 10. This one I can't. Like, the NFL does not care about angry Browns fan. You know when they proved that? Oh, back in the 90s when they literally pulled the team from Cleveland. So let's not get carried away and think you can fight the NFL just because you're mad. It doesn't work that way at all. It didn't work for the Broncos fans last year. It won't work for you today. Like, I'm sorry. It just happened to be the case that they're like, yeah, maybe we don't send 25 guys out there to play in a game. Maybe that's not a smart idea. Maybe that's just like, I don't know, that's just intelligent for the NFL to do it that way. But I still think the game should have been canceled, truthfully. I really do. I don't think this one should have probably gone through, but here we are, and it's going to happen. And as much as I wish there was something the Raiders could do, I just don't see it. Honestly, I just don't see. Like KJ Wright's pissed. Okay, fantastic, KJ Wright. You're still a subpar version of yourself from the last 3 years.
If 2013 KJ Wright is pissed, then it's a little more worrisome. That's for sure as well too. That's a lot more terrifying. And just to add on to your point, I think if both teams weren't in that wild card race, I think they probably would have strongly more considered canceling as well too. The problem is every team that had an outbreak, all of them involved some sort of like they were all in the thick of that wild card because 80% of the league's in the wild card race this year because everybody's so damn close in record.
Yeah, look, on top of that, you have the entire AFC literally within, or what they said something, it was like 30 or 28 teams in the NFL are within 2 games of a wild card.
Jacksonville, Detroit, Houston, and I think there's one other team. Like I think those are the 3 that are basically eliminated right now. So basically only 2 teams in the AFC are really out of it.
So yeah, about 28 teams in the NFL are viable for a wild card spot right now. And how crazy is that? Like we're at this point in time. And so I guess I get it that for that case, you need to play the game for the posterity's sake. But yeah, it's kind of an interesting situation. But that'll take us into, well, another rescheduled game. And this one actually does have some implications because this is for a possible division lead for the Rams or for the Seahawks, just getting themselves really into the conversation for a wild card. I feel like it's safe to say if they're going to fight back for the rest of the season. But honestly, it doesn't look like we believe in them. I think it's safe to say, again, another wash. All of us going with the Rams.
The amount of times I picked Seattle in a game where I shouldn't have picked Seattle, I'd be ahead of Hector if I had stopped doing that as well, too. So I refuse to start picking them anymore. We'll start with there as well, too. There's a personal vendetta in that one. But on top of it, assuming the Rams, it's the same thing. If they're able to get at least 80% of the guys back, OBJ's already back, Stafford seems fine, Cooper Kupp, there hasn't been anything. That alone, I feel pretty good about that one as well, too. Just those 3. Everything else will work itself out. Henderson coming off the list as well, too. I think Higbee with that false positive, so he's good to go there. I don't think it's affecting them quite as much. I mean, they had I think they had 23 players on it as well. But I think a lot of them, there wasn't as many starters, if that makes sense. I think it's starting to come back down. They've had 2 or 3 really good games where everything clicks, and you're like, that's the team that a lot of people thought could make a playoff run. Problem is they're few and far between, and they just had one last week in their game against Houston, I believe it was. So, and
where they actually ran proper route combinations.
They have actually had something going, and it looks like Tyler Lockett might be out on the COVID list. I don't know if with the game being rescheduled, if that changes anything, if he is able to get back. But looking at that, there's a lot of signs that point against Seattle at this point. I think they're basically already in early rebuild mode. I feel like things are going to have to change there, and I think they're going to start doing that. I think they're already all but checked out. I think they'll be competitive, but the Rams are playing for something right now. So I would be hard-pressed to think that the Rams are going to go out there and put their best foot forward and probably win this in a 31-20 type of fashion.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's tough, man. It's like you want to pick the Seahawks to finally do something, but they'll
let you down. They will let you down.
They disappoint you so much. And honestly, the whole running back situation too is just a whole nother issue in and of itself. Like, how many seasons in a row are we going to see a Seattle running back core get decimated with injury, and they're just going to keep plugging in these dudes that sounded great in Madden or in NCAA Football 12, but have not sounded great since? Like, at what point in time are we gonna get past that and they're gonna actually have a real running back again? Because I feel like getting that and then running actual route combinations where you don't throw the ball 40 plus yards on an option route 20 yards downfield, like that sounds like a great idea to me. That's where I'd start, but
you know what? If they were going to do that, I feel like there's 2 months ago they would have tried fixing that as well too. So it feels like at this point it's all written on the wall. They'll still be competitive down the stretch in these games. They'll probably win a couple of them, but I don't think they're winning this one. The Rams have that division title in their eyes, and that wild card spot locked in. Like if they don't get the division title, they want that 5th seed as well too, because that'll probably put you against the NFC East winner, which looks like it'll be the Cowboys. And on paper, I feel like that's a matchup they'd rather have than the Packers, the Cardinals, or the Buccaneers in that case. So that unfortunately, that's not even an insult to the Cowboys. They've been great this season, but between those three are arguably 3 of the top 5 teams in the NFL right now.
Yeah, look, the Cowboys have a lot of holes that you can exploit. We've seen that ad nauseum. So,
and they're slumping pretty bad right now too.
Exactly. And looking at the chat over here in Colorcast just got a little pop in here. Just followed. What up? That's from Live Love Sports. So shout out to her for following and checking out the cast as well. Love it as always. And that'll take us into our final game as we are getting ready to wrap it up here with Minnesota taking on the Chicago Bears. This one actually is Monday night. This was actually scheduled Monday night.
This is the one that was planned. This one was not a oh goodness moment.
And this one, we are split 2-2. Zach and myself both taking the Vikings, and DJ, you and the football guy Hector are taking the Bears. What do you have to say for yourself on that one?
What I have to say for myself is I kind of talked about it in our betting thing a little bit earlier as well too. I feel like this will be more of an offensive game. My concern is the Vikings lead the league in sacks, of course, which makes no sense, honestly. It still doesn't. There's no Danielle Hunter. Everson Griffin is not playing right now as well too. Like, it makes no sense how they lead the league in sacks, yet they do. So that's just going to throw that out there now. If the Bears could somewhat not let Justin Fields get pulverized, I think he's going to be able to put up points on the secondary. We saw it in that first half against the Packers. He's starting to get a little bit of a rhythm going. Jakeem Grant, out of nowhere, starting to look like an incredibly effective weapon. David Montgomery, Khalil Herbert's even getting a little bit involved again. And there's still Darnell Mooney, Allen Robinson in the squad. Jimmy Graham and Cole Kmet. They have a lot of weapons, and I think they'll find a way to get some points on the board as well, too. And defensively, they're not really going to stop Minnesota. I mean, Minnesota's offense is fantastic. I think it's going to be an awkward type of shootout. But Justin Fields, when he got into that shootout with the Steelers, he did everything to win. They just basically ran out of time, and the defense gave up a late score. And I think the Bears will get the ball last and win this one, basically, is how I'm looking at it. I think it's going to be weirdly ugly. I think Kirk Cousins maybe he'll have that moment where you know how those clutch moments where he lines up under the guard instead of the center, something like that as well, too. They'll let the Bears get back into it late. And Justin Fields will find a way to pull it off late is what I'm looking at. Now, 38-31 type of game. I think it's going to be very high scoring. I could be wrong, but I don't trust either defense, honestly.
Well, okay, that's fair. I actually get that. That is a big reason why I kind of tossed a coin on this one, to be fair. But at the end of the day, Justin Jefferson, I feel like is so deadly that you're just like, I can't go away from him. And KJ Osborne has been a resurgence. I don't know. He disappeared for literally 9 weeks of the season for fantasy owners who picked him up. Yeah, I was like, DJ, you're one of those fantasy owners that picked him up and hated every single moment of it for the most part. And look, he finally came back alive. Tyler Conklin is still a great asset at tight end. I feel like he's sitting at tight end 1, tight end 2 possibilities every week. Kirk Cousins, despite lining up behind the guard occasionally, still has managed to prove me wrong week in and week out and somehow keep this team afloat really off the feet of James Cook or off of Dalvin Cook. And so I should say James Cook. I just, wrong generational Cook in that case.
Not only are you getting the Cooks wrong, but you're putting your money on Kirk Cousins. Is that what I'm hearing? Who are you,
man? I got to make some moves. I got to make some moves in our pick'ems. I gotta cover 20 spots.
So basically, you're just going to go against me and Football Guy on this one, is what you're saying.
I'm going to go against you and Football Guy. So
you know what? I don't blame you because we kind of joked about it. It's whenever we're split and the person who picks with Football Guy has a losing record right now as well, too. Football Guy does his best work when he's on an island or when he's picking the same as everybody else. So, you know what? This might be the game as well, too. Going out, I'm kind of doing the same thing. And if Zach's not going to pick his favorite team, Bears, I'll do it for him, I guess, as well, too. I guess I have to take the shot.
It almost worked for me the last time I picked the Bears. So, they almost pulled that one out for me where I had to explain to Zach why you should have picked the Bears. And honestly, had it not been for the dumbest penalty ever on Marsh, I would have been right. Like that's how, so maybe, just maybe, you'll get to rub it into Zach next week when you come back and you get a win there.
I mean, I got to try and catch up to him and Football Guy at this point, too. I'm within shooting distance. I mean, 4 or 5 away. I can do this. I just need to get a couple of these, and I can't have Football Guy picking the same picks as me. So I guess I'll catch Zach first and then come for Football Guy in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, look, you guys have all 3 of you have posted 10-3 records at some point in time in the last 3 weeks, and I'm tired of it.
We did it last week.
Yeah, all 3 of you did it together last week. I'm tired of it. I can't come back from this. So I'm sitting here fighting like, oh yeah, I look pretty good for average wise. And I look at everybody else's record. I'm like, never mind. I'm trash. Thank you for your 75% success rate, guys.
You know what? It's fine. You picked the Lions on their 1 win, so there's that. It only took you picking them 8 other times, but they did pay you off, so it worked off.
No, that is for real. But that'll do it for us this week, guys. As always, we appreciate you guys tuning in, whether it be on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, or live here on Colorcast. We have an absolutely great time every week, Sunday at 10 a.m. We love it every time, guys. If you guys need to catch a replay, check it out on Twitter, YouTube, or on Facebook. You'll be able to see it there. And that'll be on the Belly Up Sports or Belly Up Football pages. So be sure to check those out. And as always, guys, we appreciate it. DJ, any final words?
Just thanks to everybody. We've seen the comment section in Colorcast starting to get popping as well, too. We appreciate you all. Jump in. We will be back on Colorcast for a live game here. It looks like tomorrow is the plan we're looking at as well, too. Stay tuned on social media pages for that. We will love being on there. We'll be back on there soon. And, of course, thank you all for joining us on whatever medium you chose to as well.
Absolutely. So check out the rest of Belly Up Sports pregame Sunday show coming up with the Roughcast Sportscast. 3, 2, 1, now.